again.
Welcome back to the Reverbium podcast. Once again, my name is Jimmy.
And I'm Sean.
Thank you very much, Sean.
I'm trying to cut out the gap in Discord by starting talking before you finish. I don't know if it works, but
you did all right. You did okay. As soon as I went like that, put my arm out.
we'll get there eventually.
We'll get there eventually. It's just Discord's fault. But anyway, we have a lot of news this week. We don't really have a main topic, so I'm sorry for anyone who isn't a wrestling fan, but because there was a pay-per-view this week, that's going to be our main topic. Just a recap of that. I know Sean's already shaking.
I'll be leaving for the end of the podcast.
You'd almost forget
gonna be off the time.
You were a wrestling fan, Sean. You were one of the virgins.
I'm not wrestling fan. I'm not a virgin. Fuck that. It's fake anyway. Who wants to watch that fake shit? It's fake.
Just trying to attack people right now. But anyway, this week...
So I get the views. You attack people.
This week there was a lot of, I'd say, movie and gaming news for the most part. Some of it is only reported, so we haven't got full confirmations, but we will be going over them. But we'll start off with a bit of sport, I think, Sean, shouldn't we? You ready for a bit of sport?
Okay.
You're just jamming out in the background.
Yeah, I'm always ready. I'm always ready for a bit of sport.
Go ahead.
I'm waiting to be needed. Okay, we'll start off with the disgusting team behind Jimmy, Man United. They have announced a new shirt sponsor
Liverpool
starting
shirt
next season.
Sorry.
I will leave. I will leave. You'll have no co-host, and this podcast
Should
will
I
fail.
put the fucking Tobey Maguire meme of him just saying "gonna cry" up here or something? Gonna cry.
Anyway, they announced a new shirt sponsor starting from next season. A new 5-year deal with Team Viewer. They'll replace Chevrolet on the front of the shirt. Sorry, not the top.
Rest in peace.
Isn't really a top of the shirt. There's a £235 million deal, which I believe is the most expensive ever. I think that's what they were saying.
Probably.
Man U normally do stuff like that, so yeah. It'll be interesting to see what they do with the shirts. I think, like how it would affect the design, because I feel like the Chevrolet badge worked quite well.
I like
and
the
obviously
Chevrolet
Team
badge.
Viewer having a blue logo could cause some issues. So, what are they going to force them to change the colour?
Yeah, they might, but I don't think so. I think we'll just have a blue badge. I think it'll look very different. Be a very different season for United, shirt-wise. Yeah.
Basically that's an extra 235 million that can go into the Glazers' bank accounts and for them to keep and run off with.
Just keep the Americans rich. Keep the Americans rich. Fucking we all hate the
Glazers. Talking of people related to Man United, Salford City, obviously owned by former Man United players. Great segue. I'm really pleased with myself.
That was good.
Have sacked Richie Wellens as their manager and replaced him with Gary Bowyer. This is their third manager of the season.
Did you see what Gary Neville said?
I didn't see what. Obviously, I saw the stuff being brought up from his old tweets saying how they should always back managers. And you can't need to back them for
Jamie
2 to 3
Carragher.
years.
All quote tweeted it with laughing faces and
with
shit.
some laughing faces. Yeah,
and it was hilarious. But
so that was quite funny. It was bringing up all the nice memes, and it's a fair point. Like, if he back to what he said a few years ago, it's what they should do. I mean, this manager recently won them their first professional, or their first trophy as a professional team. They won the Johnson's Paint the other week, admittedly. Papa John's trophy the other week, admittedly for last season, but they set to play the game this year when he was manager, and then they get rid of him. It's not a good look. Let's say that as per usual. Like, we've mentioned it before with other managers that you need to hold on to them more long term. Like, you can't expect someone to make a massive turnaround in a few months. And it's not as if they're doing that bad. They're 9th in League Two. So
I feel like there's more to it than that. I think there's things behind the scene.
So they must, because it's only their second season in League Two, and they're ninth. They're 6 points off of a playoff place with a game in hand over everyone in the playoffs. So if they win that, then they're obviously 3 points behind. So it's kind of a weird one, like why they've sacked him. So we seem to have this discussion probably like every couple of months of that someone gets sacked, and it's a bit of a, well, if they just held on to them and not kept them as a manager, they'd probably do well. I hate to say it, but Man United did it with Solskjaer for once after years of going through the cycle of getting rid of managers, and it seems to be working for them now. And yeah, it was just funny, the hypocrisy that Neville previously backs the whole you need to hold on to a manager, and then as I think it probably wasn't up to him, because I don't believe, do they even have a majority stake in it anymore? I think they probably sold it off, didn't they, to get money in?
Probably.
So, but yeah, that a little bit of lower league news.
A little bit of Monica in my life. All right, what's next on the list? Is there any other sport news?
Unless you wanted to plug my own article, the F1 season starts this weekend. If so, an article did go up today as of recording, for a preview of the season. So if you haven't read,
oh no, we got
check it out.
You got a frozen short.
Yes,
we're okay. We're okay. That you got your thing.
Oh, not again.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. We're good.
Okay.
We're good.
Okay.
Check out the article on reverbium.com.
But yeah, and if you're a fan of Formula 1, you probably know that it starts this week. It's one of the F2 season. If you're a fan of F2, the feeder series, be interested to see how it goes. I mentioned last week about the testing. The Mercedes seem to be struggling, so we could well see someone else win a Grand Prix for once. Be a miracle.
It's not happening, is it?
Probably not. Mercedes probably did it on purpose in testing to try and give everyone else false hope and just play with everyone. And they've probably made a better car than last year. And even with the restrictions and the new changes, they probably have a faster car than last year somehow. But
well, there's multiple advantages as well. Publicity, make everyone put their guard down so that Hamilton could go just straight past everyone.
I mean, I don't think anybody would put their guard down, but. Yeah, definitely excited to see for next season, see what we can bring. But yeah, haven't check out the article. Let me know what you think.
Yeah,
gotta get the self promotion out there.
It's good self promotion. Good self. I approve of this promotion.
Thank you.
Right, gaming news. We'll do some gaming news. I have a few bits. I don't know. Do you have any, or is this just me?
I had one.
Okay, I'll do.
I'll let you talk for a bit. I'll let you talk.
Okay, cheers.
I feel sorry for you not being able to talk for once. Normally you're.
I'm gonna be covering
WWE bullshit.
Well, so. Wait until the end of the podcast, mate.
It's alright. I've already said I'm leaving. I'm leaving you on your own. I'm just gonna play some Gran Turismo and just take my earphones out.
He's such a disgrace. Gotham Knights, the sort of but not really next Arkham game. It's not set in the universe, but it is. But it's not. Whatever it is. It looks interesting, but it has been delayed for a year. Or, well, I don't think we have an exact date, but it has been delayed until 2022. So don't expect that to be out this year. What else? Xbox Live has had a major change with the incorporation of Game Pass and everything. The live concept.
Xbox Live is dead.
The live concept has gone. It's now called Xbox Network.
RIP Xbox Live.
RIP Xbox Live.
It's Xbox Live still. It's Xbox Live. It's Xbox Live. They've not changed a single thing.
But it's gonna be a different name now. Xbox Network. And my final gaming piece this week is that Sony are sadly shutting down the PS3, PSP, and PS Vita stores permanently.
Devastating.
I don't actually know if it's happened yet, but if it hasn't, get on there right now if you still use the devices and get whatever you want, because you won't be able to get it for much longer. Which is a shame, because there are a lot of games that aren't on the PlayStation store currently that are on there. So it's a bit of a situation where are they going to bring these over, or are these games dead? Are they gone forever unless you owned them before?
Probably dead.
Which is
they're going to be.
Well,
But
it
do you
depends.
think?
A lot of them
Do you
are on
think it could
PS
be
Now.
because they're planning something new? Could that be why? Because they're like, oh, we're bringing
I had a
a
discussion.
more powerful handheld, or
no, I don't
or
think they're going handheld again.
Do you think I think they're a bit dead now, aren't they? If I'm honest, like Nintendo have that market kind of sorted.
Yeah. Well, I had a conversation with a friend of mine about PlayStation Now.
What, you have other friends? What?
Yeah.
When did this happen?
I know, it's shocking, really. But PlayStation Now, I don't know if you know what PlayStation Now is, but it's an extra sort of subscription service on PlayStation that's sort of like
I
Game
accidentally
Pass.
got into there on the menu the other day. I was like, what the fuck's going on here?
But it's sort of like Game Pass, except you have to stream the games for the most part, which is weird, but it's because a lot of them are PlayStation games, so you have to be online to play them. Which, yeah. But I believe they may be making improvements
in a thing called Love.
In a thing called Love, indeed. But I believe they might follow suit with what Game Pass does, or I think Sony might eventually give in and put Game Pass on the PlayStation, because if they do that, it's a win-win for Sony and Microsoft, because Sony will have the dominant console, and Microsoft will have Game Pass on all major consoles except Nintendo. So, but it depends on how stubborn Sony want to be, because they're a stubborn company. They are a very stubborn company. But that is just my theories, so don't take them as fact. But the stores for PS3, PSP, and PS Vita will be shutting down. So that is confirmed. Your gaming news, Sean.
Very sad.
Very sad.
Very sad. Very sad news. So it's not exactly news, slightly more rumory, but we just did have this week basically like a working title for Call of Duty 2021, the game for this year. Currently the working title is World War II Vanguard, which obviously gives an idea of how what the setting of the game is going to be. It looks like we're returning to World War II. Obviously, we've had it previously. It is Sledgehammer Games that are making the game.
Stupid decision.
Did they do World War II last time?
Yes.
I think they had something to do with it. Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm right?
It was them.
I'm right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they do and how this also like incorporates with like the Warzone side of things. Yeah, and how they carry forward with that. Especially
I think they'll be completely separate. I don't think they'll do it for this.
So you think like it will like stay integrated with Black Ops 2 through the next year, sort of thing, as in Warzone wise.
Yeah, like it's a weird, like with Black Ops and Modern Warfare, while they're both physically different games, like Modern Warfare is more realistic while Black Ops is more arcadey. They're both not in a similar era, but closer to each other where the guns aren't too different. If you play World War II, I went back and played the story for World War II this week. That game is so much different. The guns are so much different to what you'd get in other games. So, like, imagine running around Warzone with an M1 Grand. It's not gonna work unless they do some major changes.
I'm just reading here that apparently the game's going to take place in an alternate World War II that doesn't end.
Oh,
so there's no end to the World War. And,
no, they're going to do it as a future one, aren't they?
And it's going to possibly suggest the game will be far from a standard World War II shooter.
You see, I'm fine with them doing a modern World War II, like the war hasn't ended type of game, but
as long as they don't go too futuristic, like with your jetpacks and
just keep it a modern World War II. Like if World War II happens now, that's what I want.
So
if they're going to do that,
like we've had enough. I feel like we've had enough World War games, like not just from Call of Duty, but from other game developers that
last two have been
there. Wars. Yeah, we've kind of like been there, done that. Of there's only so much you can do with a standard classic World War shooter game.
Yeah.
So there's no real point in going back there again. So they need to do something different, but without it being ridiculous. But yeah, we don't have a huge amount of information at the moment, apart from that skill-based matchmaking will return. Fun.
Woo.
Everyone loves that.
The best
Everyone's a
part about
huge
both,
fan
I
of
fucking
this.
hate it. It makes me not want to play Black Ops Cold War.
So you play one good game and then you just get shafted.
Related to this, I played a game, I think last night. I went 50-20 or something crazy. Next game, I went like 20-20. The jump was, ooh, you're at a completely different time. You've got one less player, and every player on the other team is higher than you. That's how the matchmaking went. It's just ridiculous. I don't get how it works. But yeah, new Call of Duty. I'm more excited.
So we
for
know
the
it's
next
going to come.
Battlefield.
It's just
yeah.
Yeah.
That's all the gaming news I think we've got. So, movies and television. I'm going to do two stories that link together here. So, The Rock is in a DC.
Well, you've ruined the segue now because you've already said it's coming. You've got to leave the segue surprise.
It's not really a segue.
It looks natural
because it might not even be linked because we don't have any. Anyway, The Rock's movie Black Adam, DC supervillain, superhero, anti-hero, whatever you want to call him, has a new actor in the cast, and that is Pierce Brosnan, former James Bond, and he will be playing Dr. Fate, who's a major character in the sort of magical world of DC. So on top of that, there has been an announcement that Zatanna will be reportedly getting a movie. So whether they're going to be linked, like Dr. Fate will be in Zatanna as well, is unconfirmed, but both characters are linked in a way. So the news coming out about both near the same time, put two and two together, you might see one in the other. But yeah, that's some very interesting news there. Venom Let There Be Carnage has been delayed. It was originally supposed to come out on June 25th, I believe, but it is now coming out on September 17th. I believe delayed to make sure that theatres open because they want to get this movie out in theatres. So, standard COVID things. Some sadder news that we just found out about just before starting the podcast. Jessica Walter, who plays Lucille in Arrested Development, along with some other things, has died at the age of 80.
Many other things.
Yeah, just a sad death. Not much you can say about it. We don't really know. She was also in Archer. That's the other thing I can remember. And she's great in that. Just another actress gone during these dark times. But we will move on to my last one, which is Sony is reportedly developing a Ghost of Tsushima movie. Ghost of Tsushima came out as a game last year to critical acclaim, fan acclaim. Was many people's games of the year, and now they want to translate it into movie form. And I think it's one of the games that probably could work as a movie just as much as it could work as a game. John Wick.
You could say a little bit like the Witcher, as we
like
The
Witcher, and many other.
Maybe
things
some news coming up in a second about that.
Yeah,
maybe.
But John Wick director Chad Stahelski is set to helm this project. We don't know much more, just that it might be happening. So, Sean, your time to shine.
Yeah, so talking of video games being made into TV series or films, obviously we previously had The Witcher be made into a TV film with Netflix, and this week they announced some new cast members for the second season. So we have Joa Ando as Nenek, Cassie Clare as Philippa Eilhart, Liz Carr as Fen, Graham McTavish as Dijkstra, Kevin Doyle as Balian, Simon Callow as Codringer, Chris Fulton as Rientz. And we still don't have a release date for the second season yet. Production's been a bit start-stop because of COVID. So we're still not sure when we'll see it.
Henry
But the
Cavill
new
is
season
doing
is
other
apparently
projects too, so that might be on the back burner. A lot of those characters.
The second season.
Oh, sorry. A lot of those characters are from the games as well. So if anyone's played them, you might recognize Philippa Eilhart and Dijkstra. There might be another name in there, but I completely forgotten what you said. So, but those are two that definitely stuck out. So people will be interested in that if they haven't read the books and just know the games. Could draw some people in there, and I'm excited to see what they do. But yeah, you can continue on with that.
Yeah, just a little bit of background for the season is that it's probably going to have a more linear story and is going to focus a lot more on Geralt's upbringing. So probably slightly different to the first season that we saw.
Yeah, we'll probably go over the trial of grasses and like all of his stuff at Kaer Morhen from when he was a younger Witcher. But I also have one more news piece.
So I have something else as well, but I'll let you go.
You'll let me go. Wallace Day of Krypton fame, she was originally in Krypton, the other DC show, will be replacing Ruby Rose as Kate Kane in Batwoman, but she won't be Batwoman anymore. She'll just be Kate Kane. They're doing some weird stuff with it. No idea. I just know this is happening. So yeah, Wallace Day's a great actress from what I've seen in Krypton, so I think she's a good replacement. I still believe they should have probably just started season 2 with Wallace Day as Kate Kane if they were just going to recast her anyway, but they went the direction they went. Whatever. So yeah, it's your turn, Sean.
Yeah, in a ton of events that no one definitely saw coming at all, is that Black Widow will be coming. Well, delayed once again.
Oh, what a surprise!
Shock. So it'll be released on July the 9th, but it will be on Disney Plus and cinemas at the same time. This is along with.
But you have to pay for it on Disney Plus.
Yeah, that film Cruella. Just about to mention that although if you have Disney Plus, don't get too excited because you will have to pay more to get to watch them. It'll be the same as it was for Mulan when that was released.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to
say. Their Premier Access service, so there will be an extra charge. So you might as well go to the cinema to watch it.
Unless you want to be safe with COVID. Do not go if COVID is still a thing, which it will be. But do not go if we're still in lockdown or whatever, you know. Yeah, I think that's all for our news. So you know what time it is, Sean. See you later, pal.
Okay, bye.
No,
I was going to
do not turn it off because it will fuck up
your recording.
Wrestling news. I've got a bunch of wrestling pieces that Sean will want to be here for some of it.
Get a load of this, virgin.
We're not doing it, Sean. I'm not giving you the satisfaction. Damn it. But yes, Andrade has been released by WWE. I think we announced last week that
I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry.
To be fair, it's a massive loss for them. And if you can't figure out what to do with a star like Andrade, what the fuck are you doing? He got, I believe, the first WWE match since Money in the Bank 2011 with John Cena and CM Punk. And he got it with Johnny Gargano, and he was NXT champion. And when he came to the main roster, he basically did nothing. He had a decent run with the US title at the start of COVID. Like, he was one of the highlights, and then everything happened with Zelina Vega, where she got released, and that whole situation happened. Aleister Black hasn't been on TV since. which Aleister Black is married to Zelina Vega, just in case you didn't know. And now Andrade's gone. It's shocking because they had an opportunity there, since Andrade and Charlotte Flair are actually engaged in real life. They could have easily done like a little couple thing where they could have been managers of each other, like a huge heel couple dynamic. They could have really worked, not like when they tried to do it with Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins and it was atrocious. But it could have worked here, and they've just wasted him, and now he's gone. So I hope he gets opportunities elsewhere, because he's a very good wrestler. But yeah, following on,
Glowing review by Jimmy there.
I mean, it was a glowing review. There's not much else you can say. Like, the man's
He's
been
a very good wrestler.
He hasn't, but he hasn't wrestled for 5 months, so there's not much to say on it. He was very.
Neither's John Cena.
But John Cena has a legacy
my boy
behind
John
him.
Cena.
He probably will come back in about a year or two. At one of the probably WrestleMania Hollywood with The Rock. But I'll keep one piece of news until after the Fastlane recap, because it's related.
Oh, teasing me, Jimmy. Teasing me.
I'll tease you, boy. But Batista is out of the Hall of Fame this year. He was meant to be inducted last year, but COVID, so he was going to be inducted this year along with the new class. But he is out because of scheduling conflicts. I believe he's filming a movie. I'm not exactly sure what, maybe Guardians of the Galaxy, unless he's doing something else right now. But he won't be inducted this year because he wants to basically have a proper speech in front of a crowd, or just be able to be there in person, and he won't get that if he does it here, so he'll be inducted in a later year. But we have some big news about this year's inductees. Molly Holly was announced a few weeks ago. Eric Bischoff at the beginning of this week. Kane, like a couple days ago. And everyone's favourite, the great Khali. Everyone loves him.
Legend.
What
Absolute legend.
The best wrestler in WWE history.
Please insert the clip. If Jimmy doesn't, send him abuse in the comments.
Don't send abuse.
Please.
It depends on abuse. It depends on WWE copyright and whether I can post it.
Just going back though, it was a nice way that they announced Kane in the Hall of Fame, as they got the Undertaker to do it for him, didn't they? Was it like a video call where the Undertaker told Kane he's been inducted, which is quite nice. Obviously, if anyone doesn't know, they were brothers in WWE.
Yeah.
And I did see a few comments of people going, "Wait, they're not actually brothers. Are you being serious?" But anyway.
Really?
But yeah, that was quite a nice way they announced that for him.
Goddamn marks, Sean. They're all marks. But anyway, we'll get on to... I'm just getting up the card now. We will get on to Fastlane. Everyone's favourite.
As if you weren't prepared for this. This is disgraceful.
No, I have the card up. It's just I had to switch over.
Yeah, okay.
I've got it here, Sean.
We'd never get this delay in my news.
I will describe this event as the first half being mostly atrocious. Well, not atrocious, but not very good. And the second half being really good, in my opinion. The show started with the pre-show, where it was Riddle defending his US Championship against Mustafa Ali. It was a good match. It was... I'll get onto this more later on, because I actually tweeted something while midway through the show relating to this. But the match ended with Riddle pinning Ali once again to retain, and Retribution broke up. It's the end of Retribution. Woo! No one really gives a shit. Let's hope all of the people...
I don't know how I'm going to make it through this news, Jimmy.
He can't do it anymore. But yeah, Mace, Reckoning, Slapjack, and T-Bar will be going back to their old gimmicks, hopefully. So, yeah, that happened on the pre-show as well. Such a big story event. Whatever. The first main match on the card was Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, once again defending against Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks, We've already seen this match, Sean. Happened at Elimination Chamber. Guess what? The same result happened here. Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair lost once again. After the match, Sasha Banks slapped Bianca Belair, furthering their feud going into WrestleMania. Such a terrible feud that centers around Reginald, who is the former sommelier of Carmella, was in partnership with Sasha Banks, now is in partnership with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Who, to be fair, I do find their chemistry together quite funny. I know a lot of people hate it, but that wrestling's just stupid at its heart, so I don't blame them for doing shit like this. But the match was average. Next up was Biggie defending his Intercontinental Championship against Apollo Cruz. Going into this match, I thought this was going to be one of the best matches on the card, and the match was really good up until the finish, because I still don't know what happened. It was...
Right.
The commentators didn't know what happened, but Biggie retained, even though I'm pretty sure his shoulders were on the mat and Apollo Crews pinned him, or both their shoulders were on the mat. But anyway, it was a weird ending. It was a very weird ending. I don't know if it was a botch or if it was actually meant to happen to set up a WrestleMania match, because I'd like to see Apollo Crews win. I think he deserves it. I think his new gimmick's really good, even if it is controversial, but I think that's the point. They're both really good wrestlers, and up until the finish, it was a good match. Apollo Crews beat him down afterwards, and yeah, not much else came from it just yet. SmackDown is on Friday, so we'll see there. Next up, the best match on the card. It was supposed to be Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon, but Shane McMahon got injured. He didn't really. We found out in Raw that he faked his injury to get out of the match, but they're doing it again at WrestleMania. But what actually happened was Shane McMahon tricked Elias into taking on Braun Strowman, who was then quickly squashed in 3 minutes and 50 seconds. So Braun Strowman... I'm
surprised it lasted that long, to be fair.
Yeah.
It could have been over a lot quicker.
Jackson Riker was with him at ringside and did absolutely fuck all, as his role is in WWE right now. But anyway, let's forget everything that just happened, because it was all shit. Apart from when I tweeted out, imagine the pre-show match being the best match on the card so far at this point in the show. That was what I tweeted at this point. And then we got Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura, which was awesome.
So what you're about to tell me, Jimmy, is that you saved the show.
I saved
by tweeting that. You changed the show for the better, and you saved WWE Fastlane.
I did indeed. But yeah, Seth Rollins took on Shinsuke Nakamura. It was really creative, really fun. Seth did an awesome... I can't exactly remember the move, but he sort of caught himself on Nakamura and then swung his leg back and kicked him in the head. It was really good. Seth Rollins got the win, but it was sort of predictable because Seth is supposedly taking on Cesaro at WrestleMania, and Cesaro will probably go over on him WrestleMania like he should. But yeah, it was really good to see Shinsuke Nakamura on a pay-per-view match. It's been a while. He deserves a lot more. And the next match on the card was arguably the best match. I personally think it was the best physical match on the card, but the best storytelling was the last match, which we'll get to. But yeah, Drew McIntyre defeated Sheamus in a no-holds-barred match that lasted nearly 20 minutes. It was an awesome match. They pretty much destroyed each other. It was kind of predictable, Drew winning, because he will be main eventing night 1 of WrestleMania against Bobby Lashley. But yeah, Drew pushed Sheamus off the Thunderdome stage, off the back of the TVs. It had a bigger explosion than AEW Revolution's exploding ring did. So that was fun. But yeah, it was an awesome match. If there is a match on the card that I recommend going to see in terms of actual physical ability in the ring. This is definitely the one. I'd also recommend the main event as well, but we'll get to that. The next match, Alexa Bliss defeated Randy Orton in an intergender match. We don't get any intergender matches in WWE, except this one, which was more of a cinematic match. Randy puked up black goo once again, like he does every fucking week. Alexa came out, she threw fireballs at him. He blocked one of the fireballs with his arms, so he didn't get burnt again like he did before. She tried to drop a lighting rig on his head, but it missed and landed in front of him. And then we got the reappearance of The Fiend.
Well, hang on, we got the greatest pin of all time.
It happened before that.
Okay, sorry.
The Fiend came out of the ring, stuck his hand up, and then appeared in the ring. Randy Orton was like, "Oh no!" Took Sister Abigail. Don't know why the referee didn't disqualify Alexa Bliss, but we move on, I guess. And
plot armor. It's called plot armor.
Alexa Bliss got the win. She straddled Randy Orton. Randy Orton had a good time in this match, I'll tell you that.
Alexa Bliss can pin me whenever she wants. That's all I can say.
But Kim Orton, Randy Orton's wife, I think told Alexa to go fuck herself on Twitter or something. It was funny. She was only joking, but it was funny. But yeah. Yeah, the Fiend's new look, he looks good, I think. A lot of people are saying, I don't care, I don't give a shit. But I think the Fiend looks good. It makes sense why he came back all burnt, because the last thing we saw was Randy Orton burning his body alive. So yeah, it was a good moment. I wouldn't say it was a good match, but it was a good moment. Now we get to the second best match of the night, or maybe the best, I don't know, which is Roman Reigns defending the Universal Championship against Daniel Bryan. Oh, what an eventful match. Edge was the special guest enforcer for this match, so he was just sitting outside making sure everything went to plan. It was just a very good technical match, very hard hitting. They both had a lot of the offense each. At one point, Daniel Bryan hit the running knee, but missed Roman Reigns and hit the referee. And the ref had one of the best sells in history for a referee bump. It was really good. So then Edge got involved because he was now the referee, counted a 2 count on Bryan because Roman tried to pin him. Roman had an argument with Edge over it. Yeah, it happened. And then Jey Uso came out, super kicked Edge, so knocking him out for a bit. I think he super kicked him, or he hit him with a steel chair, or both, I don't remember. And then he tried to hit Daniel Bryan with a steel chair, but Daniel Bryan got it, knocked Jey out of the match, and then just took the steel chair to Roman Reigns, and accidentally, I think, hit Edge at one point. And then this is the best part of the match. Bryan had the label lock on Roman Reigns. The whole story of the match was that Roman Reigns has never tapped out to anyone before. He's never been tapped out. He's never submitted. If it was to happen, it would have been a big shock. And it happened. Daniel Bryan made Roman Reigns tap out. But there's no referee. Where's the referee? Wait, is Edge getting up? Is Edge going to see the tap up? No, Edge just demolishes Bryan and Roman Reigns. He is angry at him for attacking him and trying to take his spot at WrestleMania, or not his spot, but trying to take the limelight from him. And yeah, he attacks both, then he just leaves. And then the referee comes, Roman Reigns just stretches his arm out, puts it over Daniel Bryan, 1, 2, 3, Roman Reigns retains. So we should have a new Universal Champion, but we do not. We have the same. Which is where my last piece of news comes in. I told you I was saving one more bit of news, Sean. It's that reportedly the main event of WrestleMania as it stands will be a triple threat match between Roman Reigns, Edge, and Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan will be taking the pin in that match. so that Roman Reigns doesn't look weak when Edge wins the title. That is what will be happening. Even though I think I prefer Daniel Bryan to win, because it's going to be his last run in the company. But then again, it's probably going to be Edge's last run in the company. So, I think it's time for Roman to drop the belt, have a bit of time off, and then come back. Because they're setting this up for The Rock versus Roman Reigns, but that's going to happen in 2 years' time. Like it's going to happen at WrestleMania Hollywood, allegedly, if it's going to happen. So it's best for Roman to drop the belt now, start giving it to whoever you want to give it to before Roman inevitably picks it back up in 2 years' time, and then loses it to The Rock or beats The Rock or whatever you want to do with it. But yeah, awesome match. The latter half of this pay-per-view is definitely worth watching from Seth Rollins onward. There wasn't a bad match on there onwards. I don't want to say the matches before it were good. Like Biggie versus Apollo Crews was good, but it had such a sloppy ending that I don't really know how to feel about it. And Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler was just there. Not much to talk about. But yeah, the especially Seth, Shinsuke, Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, Roman Reigns, and Daniel Bryan. Those are the matches to see if you're going to watch any matches at all. But yeah, that is the Fastlane recap. One more thing I will talk about is the fact that this was the first pay-per-view to feature on Peacock in America, and it wasn't very well received because Peacock is apparently a nightmare to use for wrestling. You can't scroll back live, you can't go back and look at the show live, you can't pause, you can't do this, it's hard to search. Apparently it's a nightmare, and apparently they're looking at changing these things, but it's not going to happen until at least the summer, if not longer than that. So that is all of our news for today. We didn't really have a big topic, we just had loads of little news pieces, so wrestling's your big topic.
Hopefully we'll come back with a big one next week.
Yeah, well, there have been some rumblings in a football-related sense.
Some rumours.
Some
rumours.
We may be getting a football-related big topic, big question, whatever you want to call it. I feel like I just stole that from Cultaholic or something. But yeah, that is all for this week's podcast. We will see you again next Friday. Go check out our new articles on Reverbium.com. We have an F1 season preview for this season coming up. We also have some new news on Doctor Who Blu-ray sets. So if you're a Doctor Who fan and you want to know about some of the collections that are coming out or being reissued at the moment, go on there. We have tons of news about that. And we'll be having our next podcast next Friday as usual. If anything comes up during the week, we'll inform you. WrestleMania is in 2 weeks. NXT TakeOver also in 2 weeks. It's going to be a lot of wrestling, so expect that week or the week after to be very much wrestling.
I think I might be on holiday that week.
Looks like
it
looks like it might be a solo podcast, guys. No, he'll be here. You'll watch WrestleMania. You watch that?
Maybe depends.
You usually do. I will be watching it because I
busy
have
man,
no life.
Busy man.
I have no life, so I will be watching.
And you're a virgin.
And okay, bit harsh. I do have a girlfriend, but yeah, we'll just
oh, weird flex.
Weird flex. Oh, boys, did you know? That was so shit. That was such a shit segment, Sean. Why did we do that?
We've got.
You wanted to do the virgin thing. You wanted to do the virgin thing before the podcast, and
I got it in.
You got it in, but it did not work.
We have gone way off brand.
Yeah, that was not working. Anyway, check us out on Twitter. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe, like, comment, share, all of the above. Yeah, we'll see you next week.